Hi guys, so Teamfight Tactics Set 13 Into the Arcane is set to launch on the 20th of November. So in this video I'll give you a quick rundown as far as what to expect for the new units, new traits, the set mechanic, and there's also new augments, but I won't be going into them in this video. So first of all we have the set mechanic. The set mechanic is the anomaly. On stage 4-6, there's an encounter that appears in which you can choose an anomaly, like for example here is strength training, gain 20% attack damage, and you can reroll this anomaly, and you just place the unit you want to put the anomaly on and click on evolve, and that's basically the whole set mechanic. There are a lot of different anomalies such as Berserker Rage, Bulwark, Eagle Eyes, but I won't go into each of them. There's a whole list of them you can find. I'll put them in the description if you want to check them out. Another big change they have made is that there is no more voting for a portal. You will have a random chance, like these are the chances, to get one of these portals. So you don't have a choice anymore. The game chooses for you, and these are the available portals. Another huge change that they made is they modified the bench, the item bench. So now you have 20 item slots and you can combine your items directly on the bench. It makes it so it's more readable and it's easier to manage your items. Now let's get into the traits. For the first trait, we'll have Academy. So Academy gives you an item. For example, at 3 Academy, you get, let's say, a Bloodthirster. And these items give you bonus max health and damage amp. And if it's an Academy unit that's holding them, they get additional health and damage amplification. This works for duplicate items. For example, if the first item is a BT and you build another BT, you get damage amp and max health. Next, we have Automata. So these guys, they stack. At 20 crystals, they blast the current target, dealing magic damage, and they also gain magic armor and magic resist. Then we have Black Roses. Black Roses is basically somewhat like Eldritch. They summon a Chain Scion, and he is freed after 5 casts from the Black Roses units, or when he drops below 65% health. So he's basically a giant dummy on your board that also deals damage when he's freed, of course. After that, we have Chem Baron. So Chem Baron is basically like Fortune. You lose streak and you gain stacks per lose streak, and after per 100 stacks, you get the opportunity to cash out or to keep your shimmer to get bigger cash outs. Of course, the bigger the bigger the number of Chem Barons, the faster you stack. Then we have Conqueror. Conquerors is basically the win streak trait. Every time they take down an enemy, you gain a stack, and at a certain amount of stacks, you get war chests, which is basically loot. A table has been made, and I'll post the table in the description. And Conquerors also gain bonus AD and AP per war chest. Then we have Emissary. Emissary, it's either a 1 trait or a 4 trait. So you basically just play one of these or all 4. And you get that specific unit's bonus. So for Mbessa, it's allies gain armor and magic resist for each opponent defeated. For Garen, it's bonus HP. For Nami, it's bonus mana on auto attacks. And for Tristana, it's bonus attack speed. And if you play all 4, you gain bonus damage amp and health. Then we have Enforcers. Enforcers gain a shield at the start of the combat and damage amp. The highest health unit also becomes wanted, and once he dies, your Enforcers gain bonus attack speed, and this scales with the number of Enforcers units you have. Then we have Experiment. So you gain laboratory hexes on your board, and when you put the experiment champions on these hexes, they gain a bonus. So if you have 3 experiment units, you have 2 hexes, and both the units on the hexes gain the bonus. So for Twitch is bonus damage equals to max HP after 5 auto attack. For Mundo, it's on takedown gain max health. For Nunu, it's bonus damage. For Urgot, it's a dash, I think. Yeah, it's a dash after casting. And for Zyra, it's a bleed. Then we have Family. So family members support each other, reducing their max mana and gaining extra bonuses such as damage reduction, attack speed. Also, when you have 5 of them, there's a heist. And after each combat, the heist progresses, and if you have surviving family members, your heist progresses even more. Then we have Firelight. After 6 seconds, Firelight's champions dash, and while they dash, they attack with infinite range and heal. So the heal scales with the number of Firelights you have. And at 4, you gain more attack speed. Then we have High Roller, which is basically Savika's own trait, unique trait. So it's basically she rolls a dice, let's say a dice, and she gets a different attack according to what she rolls. Then we have Junker King, that's Rumble's unique trait. Every 3 rounds you can purchase augments, so it's basically like the old Heimerdinger where you could buy turret upgrades. After that we have Rebels. So Rebels gain max health, 12%. After your team loses 30% of their HP, a secondary effect takes place. So they gain bonus attack speed, and you gain other bonuses according to how many Rebel units you have. So for 3 you gain AD and AP. For 5 you gain more AD and AP and HP. And for 7 you gain a stun, which is huge. And at 10, so 10 is the prismatic trait, so you need 2 spats for it. It repeats every 6 seconds. Then we have Scrap. So Scrap is the same as always. You put components on the champions and they become completed items. And then you gain a shield according to how many components you have on units. Then we have Ambusher. Ambusher, so they gain bonus crit chance and crit multi. Artillerist, after 5 attacks, they launch a rocket that deals more damage. And they gain bonus AD. For Bruisers, you gain 100 max HP, and Bruisers gain even more. So that's 100 max HP team-wide, which is really good early game. Dominators. Dominators gain a shield at start of combat, and each time they cast, they gain bonus AP. That stacks based on how much mana they spent. So when you build Dominators, you usually want a bunch of mana, and so they cast more and gain more AP. Then we have Form Swappers. So Form Swappers change their stats and ability based on if they're placed on first 2 rows or back 2 rows. Frontline ones gain durability, and backline ones gain damage amp. Then we have Pit Fighters. Pit Fighters gain Omnivamp and bonus true damage. Once they drop to 50% health, they heal a percentage of their health over 2 seconds. Quick Strikers, they gain bonus attack speed based on how much HP their target has. So the lower the HP is, the more attack speed they will have. Sentinel, your team gains armor and magic resists. So it's a team-wide buff, 12 armor and 12 MR at 2. And Sentinels gain triple of that, so 36 at 2, of course. Then we have Snipers. Snipers deal more damage the further the targets are. So the further the target is, the more damage they will deal. Sorcerers is basically bonus AP on the whole team, and sorcerers themselves gain more. Then we have Visionaries. So when Visionaries gain mana, they gain more. So 25% more mana at 2, 50 at 4, 80 at 6, and then at 8 they heal 2. Then we have Watchers. Watchers have durability and increased durability like even further at above 50% health. So they gain 15% base durability, which is upgraded to 30% when they are above 50% health. And that's it for the traits. Now let's look at the champions. Okay, now let's talk about champions for the 1 cost. First we have Amumu, which is Automata Watcher. So his skill is obsolete technology, so it's only a passive skill, and he reduces all upcoming damage, and every second he emits a spark that deals magic damage. Then we have Darius, who is Conqueror Watcher. He spins, dealing damage to adjacent enemies, and heals. He also applies a bleed. To target over 4 seconds. Then we have Draven, who is also a Conqueror, and he's a Pit Fighter too. So his passive is he empowers an axe in hand, and it replaces his next attack, dealing physical damage, and empowered axe returns to Draven after hitting an enemy. When he activates it, he spins the empowered axe. So he actually throws them. Then we have Irelia, who is Rebel Sentinel. Her skill makes her enter in defensive stance, and she gains a shield that decays over 3 seconds. When it expires, she deals damage. Then we have Lux. Lux does a shield, and then she empowers her next auto attack that deals bonus magic damage. She's Academy Sorcerer. Then we have Maddie. She's Enforcer Sniper. She fires 6 shots towards the furthest enemy that deals damage to the first target they hit. So people can put units in between her and her target, and the target that's in the middle will take the shots. So the shots can be blocked. Then we have Morgana. Morgana curses the nearest non-cursed enemy, dealing damage over time and reduces the effectiveness on shields on them. She's Black Rose Visionary. Then we have Powder. She's Family Scrap Ambusher. She sends a monkey towards the largest group of enemies, causing a 2-hex radius explosion that deals damage and burns and wounds. Then we have Singed. Singed is Cambaran Sentinel. He gains durability and grants the ally that has dealt the most damage this round attack speed that decays over 4 seconds. Then we have Steb. He's Enforcer Bruiser. He's passive. On heal, he heals the 2 closest allies for 25% of the amount. And his active is he heals and then he does damage. Then we have Trundle. Trundle will heal health and charms the target for physical damage. And this increases based on how much HP Trundle has lost. He's Scrap Bruiser. Then we have Vex, that is Rebel Visionary. She sends her skill that creates a 1-hex radius that deals damage after a brief delay. Then we have Violet. She's Family Pit Fighter. She jabs the target 2 times, and when she uppercuts them, she knocks them off. And she, of course, does damage. Then we have Zyra. She's Experiment Sorcerer. So she sends vines toward the target, stunning them and dealing magic damage. Then Blitz and hits the 2 nearest enemy and does damage to them. Then we have the 2-cost champions. For the 2-cost champions, we have Akali. She's Rebel Quick Striker. She throws her shuriken at the target, dealing magic damage and marking them. She then dashes from the target, and after a brief delay, she dashes towards them and deals damage to them. Then we have Camille. She's Enforcer Ambusher. She kicks the target, dealing adaptive damage, and she heals based on the damage she dealt. Then we have Leona. Leona is Academy Sentinel. She fortifies for 3 seconds, which makes her gain durability, and then she does damage to adjacent units. Then we have Nocturne. He's Automata Quick Striker. For 6 seconds, his attacks also cause adjacent enemies to bleed for physical damage over 1 second. So he has an AoE attack. Then we have Rel. She's Conqueror Sentinel Visionary. So she gains a shield for 4 seconds, and she lances enemies in a line and steals armor and ammo. Then we have Renata, Cambaran Visionary. So Renata fires a missile, and if the missile passes through allies, they gain a shield, and when they collide with enemies, they deal damage. Then we have Set, his Rebel Bruiser. Set pulls enemies from either side of himself and deals magic damage and stuns them. If he only grabs one enemy, he deals bonus damage. Then we have Tristana, she's Emissary Artillerist. She launches a cannonball that deals physical damage, and if the enemy dies from the cannonball, it ricochets and deals damage to the other enemies. Then we have Urgot. Urgot is Experiment Pit Fighter Artillerist. He fires an explosive charge that deals physical damage and then sunders for 20% for 6 seconds. So he's a utility unit. Then we have Vander, his Family Watcher. So he stops attacking and braces for 2.5 seconds, which makes him gain magic resist and armor, and empowers his next attack. Then we have Vladimir. Vladimir is Black Rose Sorcerer Watcher. He heals and deals magic damage to the target. Then we have Zeri. She's Firelight Sniper. And every 3rd attack, she replaces her attack with a spark that deals damage to the target and physical damage to 2 nearby enemies. Then we have Ziggs. Ziggs is Scrap Dominator. He tosses a bomb at the target that deals damage, and then mini bombs are flying out from the original target that deals magic damage to random enemies. Then we have the 3-cost champions. We have Blitzcrank. Blitzcrank is Automata Dominator. He has a passive that makes it so when he survives, he deals damage based on how much he has taken. And then on his active, he gets a shield that reduces damage for 4 seconds. Then we have Cassiopeia, Black Rose Dominator. She blasts a target for magic damage, and every 3rd cast, she does an AoE that goes to other enemies within 3 hexes. Then we have Ezreal. Ezreal fires a shot towards the current target that deals physical damage to all enemies within 1 hex. Then deal physical damage to the unit in center of the blast. He's Academy Rebel Artillerist. Then we have Gangplank. Gangplank is Scrap, Pit Fighter, and Form Swapper. So when he's frontline, when he activates his skill, he cleanses all negative effects and heals, and then he slashes, dealing damage to enemies in a line. And if he only hits one enemy, the damage is doubled. When he's backlane, his passive becomes when he gains mana, he throws sticky bombs to the enemies, and if the enemies that they attach to dies, then they pass on to the other nearby enemies. And the active is basically detonating them and dealing damage. Then we have Kog'Maw. Kog'Maw is Automata Sniper. His skill is his attacks deal bonus magic damage, and his active is when he activates it, he gains stacking attack speed for the rest of the combat, and every 2 casts he gains attack range. Then we have Loris. Loris is Enforcer Sentinel. He shields for 4 seconds, and it redirects 50% of the damage taken by allies. When it expires, he deals damage in a cone. Then we have Nami. And Nami is Emissary Sorcerer. She launches a wave at the target that bounces 3 times and does magic damage. Then we have Nunu and Willump. So Nunu and Willump is Experiment Bruiser Visionary. For 3 seconds, he gains durability and creates a 2-hex cloud of noxious fumes that deals magic damage. And when he detonates the cloud, it does more damage to enemies within the cloud. Then we have Rennie. Rennie is Cambaran Bruiser. So she heals over 1.5 seconds, and for the duration, the target Rennie has is thrown into the air and is stunned. So it's a 1.5 second stun, and then she heals and does damage. Scar is Firelight Watcher. So Scar stuns the 3 nearby enemies for 1.5 seconds and deals magic damage to them, and he heals too. Then we have Smeech. Smeech is Cambaran Ambusher. So Smeech leaps towards the nearby enemies with the fewest items within 4 hex. He slashes 3 times, and if the target dies, he dashes to another enemy. Then we have Swain. Swain is Conqueror Sorcerer Form Swapper. So when Swain is frontline, he heals in Ascends for 6 seconds and deals magic damage to enemies. When he gets a takedown, the Ascension duration is extended by 2 seconds. When he's backlane, he sends Kraus to the enemies, dealing magic damage. Then we have Twisted Fate. He's Enforcer Quick Striker. He throws 3 cards at different targets. So blue card restores health to the lowest health ally. Red card deals magic damage to the largest circle of enemies, and yellow card deals damage to their target and stuns them for 1 second. Now on to the 4 costs. For 4 costs, we have Ambessa. She's Conqueror Emissary Quick Striker. So when she casts, she switches between stances. First stance is Chains, so she gains bonus attack range. When she casts, she dashes to the target and strikes in a half circle, dealing physical damage to the enemy. And the second stance is Fists, so she gains Omnivamp and attacks faster. Then we have Corki. Corki is Scrap Artillerist. So he locks onto a target and sends missile to the target. Every missile that deals damage reduces armor by 1. And every 7th missile reduces armor by 7. Then we have Dr. Mundo. Dr. Mundo is Experiment Dominator. So when he casts, he becomes energized over 2 seconds, and he heals during his energized stance. When he is energized, he also deals magic damage to adjacent enemies. When the spell ends, he deals damage to enemies within 2 hexes. Then we have Echo. Echo is Firelight Scrap Ambusher. So Echo summons an assault of after images that deals magic damage to the target. It also reduces the target's magic resist for the remainder of the combat. Then we have Elise. Elise is Black Rose Bruiser Form Swapper. When she's frontline, she jumps to a nearby hex and webs all enemies within 2 hexes, stunning them. She also heals. When she's backlane, she sends spiderlings toward the 4 nearest enemies that explode on contact and deals magic damage. Then we have Garen. Garen is Emissary Watcher. So his passive is after dealing damage, he heals health. And his active is he gains a shield for 4 seconds and slams a sword on the target, dealing physical damage. Then we have Heimerdinger. Heimerdinger is Academy Visionary. Heimerdinger fires missiles at random enemies that deals magic damage, and every time he casts, he fires 1 more missile. Then we have Illaoi. Illaoi is Rebel Sentinel. She gains durability for 3 seconds, and over this duration she drains health from the nearest enemies. Then she slams down, dealing magic damage. Then we have Silco. Silco is Canberran Dominator. He throws a canister at the target that releases small monsters that deals magic damage. Then we have Twitch. Twitch is Experiment Sniper. So for the next 8 attacks, he gains 85% attack speed and infinite range. And it replaces his attacks with piercing bolts that target random enemies. Bolts deal physical damage, and that is reduced by how much, based on how much enemies they pass through. Then we have Vi. Vi is Enforcer Pit Fighter. So she gains a shield for 3 seconds and stuns her target for 1.5 seconds after that. Then she slams down, dealing physical damage to the target and causes a shockwave in the roll. Enemies that are hit take physical damage and are knocked up. Then we have Zoe. Zoe is Rebel Sorcerer. She launches a star at the target that deals magic damage, and then this star bounces to the farthest enemy within 4 hexes. It then bounces back to the target. This effect repeats and hits a different enemy each time. Finally, we have the 5 cost. For the 5 cost, we have Caitlyn. She's Enforcer Sniper. So she enters her sniper stance and calls an airship, and whenever she casts again, she drops a bomb on them, dealing damage. Also, when an enemy is caught in the epicenter of an air raid blast, it reduces the target's magic resistant armor by 20 and fires a shot towards them, dealing damage. Then we have Jace. Jace is Academy Form Swapper. So Jace summons a placeable Hextech Forge, and on cast, it gives a shield to the closest enemies for 4 seconds. If it's dead, it revives it. That is for the frontline one. Then the active is he summons 2 Hex Gates, knocks his target into them, sending them back, and dealing physical damage to enemies in the path. Then when he's backlane, the Hextech Forge gives attack speeds, and when it dies, it revives, same as the first one. And for the active, he throws an unstable crystal at the 3 nearby enemies, dealing physical damage. It also causes a chain of explosion, dealing physical damage to enemies within 1 hex of the crystal. Then we have Jinx. Jinx is Rebel Ambusher. So she has multiple stances. She has a Zap, Flame Chompers, and Death Rocket. So Zap deals physical damage to enemies in a line and stuns them for 1.25 seconds. Flame Chomper deals physical damage to 3 1 hex circle of enemies, And then the third cast is Death Rocket. She basically fires a big rocket that hits the whole map and deals damage. Then we have LeBlanc. LeBlanc is a Black Rose Sorcerer. So she casts a chain onto the 4 nearest enemies for 5 seconds. And that deals magic damage that is split between them. When one of the chained enemies take damage, it is split and the others take bonus true damage. Also, LeBlanc's next 3 attacks deal bonus magic damage, which is increased by 0.5% for each enemy killed by the initial damage. Then we have Mazahar. He's Automata Visionary. He summons a gate in a 5-hex line that across the target, and enemies that are hit by that line are shredded for 4 seconds. Then he spreads 5 stacks of infection between enemies he's hit. The infection deals magic damage per second for the rest of the combat, and when the target dies, it is passed to the other to the nearest enemy. Then we have Mordekaiser. Mordekaiser is Conqueror Dominator. So he gains durability and summons a massive claw that deals damage to enemies in a line and makes them take more damage, and they are also pulled towards Mordekaiser. Then for the next 10 seconds, he gains Omnivamp and attack range, and replaces every attack with a slam that deals magic damage to the target and to enemies within 2 hexes. Then we have Rumble. Rumble is Junker King, so it's his personal trait, Scrap, and Sentinel. So he calls down a rain of 5 missiles on the target in a row that each deals magic damage, burn, and wound. Also, for each missile that doesn't hit an enemy, he restores mana. If there is only 1 enemy left, he fires all the missiles to that 1 enemy. Then we have Savika, finally. She is Canberran, High Roller, and Pit Fighter. High Roller is his personal trait. So she randomly casts 1 of 3 spells with a chance of jackpot. So her first spell is Flamethrower. She deals true damage to the target every second until death. Enemies in a cone around them take 50% less as physical damage. Then we have Extendo Punch. So it deals physical damage to the target and knocks them away. She then dashes to that enemy and deals damage in a 1 hex radius around them. And finally, she has Chomp that deals physical damage to the target. And if they are left with less than 15% health, it executes them and casts again on one of the lowest health target enemies within 2 hexes. Alright, that's it for this video. I hope you find it useful, and if you're not already, please subscribe to the channels. It helps a lot. Thank you. Also, you can follow me on Twitch if you're not. I stream regularly every night. See you around.